If you were a kid who grew up in the early 90s, there was one car above all others that you dreamt of owning. That was, of course, the McLaren F1. It had a 6.1 litre, 460 kilowatt V12 engine. It'd do over 390 kilometres an hour top speed, and it claimed a 0 to 100 time of 3.2 seconds. Everyone wanted one. Unfortunately, brand new at over $1 million, very few people had the opportunity to buy one, which meant it was best kept to the realm of dreaming. 23 years on though, and the British brand has got a new range of high-performance transport, the most affordable and newest of which is this, the McLaren 570S. Sitting under the 650S, 675 LT and the mighty P1, the 570S is McLaren's new entry point into the brand and the first car of the marque's new Sport Series range. Dig the green? So do we. What you're looking at is a 420 kilowatt, 600 Newton meter carbon fibre and aluminium concoction that can get from 0 to 100 in 3.2 seconds. That's the same as a 911 Turbo, Lamborghini Huracan and the original McLaren F1, and only 0.2 seconds off the 650S. Powered by McLaren's go-to twin-turbocharged 3.8 litre V8, but with 30% new components, the 570S will hit 200 kilometres an hour in 9.5 seconds and continue on to a top speed of 328 kilometres an hour. It's got an aggressive front splitter, a fixed rear wing, staggered 19 and 20-inch wheels, and massive carbon ceramic brakes. Inside is equally as pretty. There's optional Alcantara-covered racing seats, a 7-inch touchscreen, and McLaren's Active Dynamics panel, offering drivers the choice of normal, sport, and track modes for both the suspension and the engine and gearbox. In Portugal to drive the new 570S on road and on track, first, we hit the road. The 570S doesn't launch locally until early next year, but when it does, it'll start at $379,000, or around 80k less than a 650S, but still slightly more expensive than a Porsche 911 Turbo. In normal mode, the car can't quite match the 911 Turbo for ride comfort. Even in its tamest setting, the McLaren is comparatively firm and busy. It's never crashy though, and beautifully transfers information directly to the driver. And provided high levels of feedback and driver engagement are what you want in your super sports car, that's a really good thing. The gearbox is fast, the brakes are solid, and while on the heavier side, the hydraulic steering is wonderfully responsive and consistent, and a definite highlight of the car. On the road, the engine delivers usable torque from down low, meaning you can meander through twisty countryside without the need for high revs. Bring those revs up to between 5 and 8.5 grand though, and the whole package becomes an entirely different beast. Switching from normal to sport and then onto track, the 570S quickly reminds you just what stable it comes from. Crisp, agile, fast, responsive, the McLaren 570S is without question one of the most potent yet communicative track weapons you or anyone else can buy. And worse news for its rivals, it is so much fun. But to better exploit the car's true potential, we jump in for some hot laps of the Portimao circuit with a man who knows a thing or two about driving McLarens fast. McLaren's own chief test driver, Chris Goodwin. Now we're fortunate enough to have the man himself, Chris Goodwin, taking us for a hot lap. And I like safety protocol number one is this time we're doing helmets, because you don't make mistakes, right?
Oh, everyone makes mistakes. But yours is just your first mistakes coming out for a drive with me. We've just switched the ESC off, by the way.
Yeah.
We've got track mode handling. We've got ESC dynamic, but we'll have ESC off. You know,
sure.
Hey, why not?
Yeah, well the tyres have cooled down, so someone's got to warm them back up.
And we're going to be in Powertrain Sport mode because that's my favourite gear shift.
Okay,
it's
as opposed to track?
Yeah, just because the Sport mode's got a really nice crack to it. The cut on the upshift is fun.
Yep.
Sounds better. So turn one. Yeah, these tyres are actually pretty warm already. They're okay. And basically the 570S has all been about corners like this one where we really want to have a car that really turns in and sucks itself into the apex of the corner. Getting into this blind over the crest left-hander is absolutely no problem. The car just wants to keep turning. On the brakes as we go into this blind downhill hairpin, and it just skips around a little bit over the bumps. It's moving, but it's stable. Again, it eats up the apex of the corner, no problem. Have a bit of oversteer on the corner exit.
How's the balance?
Absolutely flat around this corner. Well, it's, you know, stable when you want it around a fast curve like that.
And it's the feedback that you really wanted to get nailed with this car.
Well, exactly. You know, you can pick up the differences in road surface as you go around. You can just on the point of wheel spin on the way out of the corners. You know, it's really that fun balance. It's in the zone where you can adjust it, you can play around with it. You know, cars that are stuck, there's not much you can do. You've really got to particularly find a driving style that unlocks the cars, but you know, this one's unlocked. It's just
Now, I heard a lot of the other instructors that we had saying that this out of the range at the moment is actually kind of their favourite.
Yeah.
For a couple of different reasons. You just drove the P1 GTR recently.
Yeah.
How is it driving the other end of the spectrum, the entry level?
Well, you know, you can't quite do this in a P1 GTR, and you're travelling a huge amount faster when you do. So this is accessible fun. More people on the planet can drive a car like this on the edge or close to the edge in this zone. P1 GTR is so fast. I tested it here.
Yeah.
It's unbelievably quick. We're doing, in this car, yeah, we're doing over 270, 275k on the brakes down into turn 1. The P1's considerably quicker than that. But it's the cornering grip is just immense in the P1 GTR. And this one, we've deliberately toned down the grip from the tyres, got the balance so that you've got a nice forward shifting tyre balance just so the car keeps turning into the corner. We're light on aero because we don't want the car to pin down.
And obviously it's, the whole idea behind this car was to make a usable, practical road car.
Yeah.
But it's still a McLaren, it's got to be able to do this.
Well, I mean, you know, when you guys start testing this car up against other cars, you're going to soon find that actually this car competes in terms of track performance with a lot of cars that are considerably more expensive and have, you know, considerably less technology. We've still got a carbon tub, which is stiff and you know, responsive, but very, very safe. We've got adaptive damping, which is the same on all of our cars, which is, you know, a hugely tricked system that we've calibrated to give the balance we've got all the time. We've got brake steer, same vehicle dynamicists have worked out the suspension geometry. And
after all the development that you've put into it as well, is there, apart from awesome slides, is there a favourite aspect or element that you really just love getting back into and driving this car for?
Well, look at my face. What do you reckon? It's fun. The three most important things about this car are that whatever speed you're driving at, it's just a lot of fun. The car just looks forward to every corner you're approaching. And we're driving quite quick, we're sliding the car around, we're on the limit of the tyre grip, but you know, we'll cruise around now for a lap and we'll drive at a sensible pace. And you know, if you get down below the limit of the car's grip, you turn into a corner at a normal sensible pace, which is a ridiculous pace for driving on the road. But even then the car is just wanting to get into this corner. You turn in, there's no understeer, the car just keeps pivoting around the corner, so it's kind of effortless. And you know, that's the kind of drive that most people will experience most of the time. You know, they're on an empty bit of road, a mountain road, or you know, a bit of countryside, and they're not going to be definitely drifting around the corner. And just because they're not driving like a hooligan doesn't mean they shouldn't really be able to enjoy the car and make it and feel that it's a real performance car. It's got a real character. It really wants to turn into the corners, and that balance is what this car is designed for, and from the very concept.
It really feels quite a different personality below $5,000 and above $5,000 as well. That you can drive it on the road,
yeah,
and then it kind of unleash the beast when you go north of 5,000 RPM.
Exactly. But you can stick it in automatic and put it in auto gear shift there, track mode, and you know, brake can go down to the right gear. You know, it goes into the correct gear with the blip. It's shifting gear at the right points all the time. Short shifts there, the way I would have done myself. So, you know, it's a lot of cars for a lot of people, and it means that, you know, we hopefully will sell quite a lot of these cars because everyone can drive it at whatever speed you drive it at. It's
significantly cheaper than
offering a lot of fun.
GTR.
It is, yeah, it is. But they're sold out anyway, so we had to come up with something else.
You needed something else.
Yeah.
The range was looking slim.
Yeah, exactly. So now we've got a really nice range. We've got the 570S, we've got 650S, which is giving the more performance, more grip. It's a faster, more powerful car. But the 675 is even more so, and really very much track focused.
At the limit, though, in your opinion, and this at full tilt, how far off a 650S would this be?
It depends what kind of track you're on, really. It really depends what sort of track. I think the slower the circuit, the closer they're going to be.
Yeah.
The more you're relying on aero and horsepower, the wider the divide.
Yeah.
There we are.
Hot laps done, we sit down for a quick chat with Chris in what else but the 570S's carbon fibre tub.
It's not too bad.
Have you been in this yet? Or is this the first?
I've sat in this tub, yeah.
Yeah. So we're in the bit that forms the heart, I guess, of the 570S. Can you talk us through the 3 years of development and kind of the process of deciding that you were going to do this car and why?
Well, I mean, the origins of the car, I mean, I'll start here. All of our cars have a carbon fibre monocell. This one is a derivative of our original monocell from the 12C that's come through 650, and we'll obviously carry the same concept through into a P1. So this is a very different layout of basically the same concept. A big change was to try to make the car an everyday, more usable car. And simple things make all the difference. So the foot swing, as you open the door, and you can just get in and out much more easily. And trust me, if I test this car at our test track, I might be getting in and out of the car 100 times in a day, where a normal owner might get in and out of their car twice.
Exactly.
Those sort of things start to really make a big difference. What we're in, though, is a really key element of all of our cars. This carbon fibre tub, the monocell, it adds a huge amount of rigidity, which allows our suspension in the 4 corners of the car to do their thing. So that it's a super responsive car, largely because we have this rigid link between the corners. So for the lightweight, super lightweight that this is, we have an immense stiffness, which is a massive tool in our dynamics of our car. But of course, you can't underestimate the safety cell we're in. You know, I've seen some big shunts in our racing program with the 12Cs and the 650 GT3 cars with this kind of structure around the drivers, and we've had cars in the wall at super high speed, rolling, and all the usual motorsport accidents. But we recycle the tubs. We've only replaced one in 4 years of racing.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
You know, and it's one of our very first tubs was severely accident damaged in 2011, was used as a test car, rebuilt into a test car, was winning races with Sebastian Loeb driving in 2013, and now in a slightly different shape as a 650S, was winning races again in the UK at Silverstone in GT Championship.
So recycling, it's all environmental.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. But these things just don't give up. They're absolutely rock solid. So don't underestimate. We build fast cars. If you're going to be in a fast car, make it a carbon fibre one.
How many owners of this car, or the 570S, do you think are ever going to push anywhere near the limits that we just experienced out there on the drive?
More than we'll do in a P1, more than we'll do in a P1 GTR. So we will sell more of these cars because they're cheaper, they're more affordable. But more of those owners will be able to get close to that limit or drive in that area, that envelope of close to, at or above the limit, because we've brought the limits down. There's less power, there's less tyre grip, there's less aero. So on the track, you've seen it. You can get the car moving around, and it's controllable and fun, but you don't have to be at driving with amazing commitment because it's pinned to the ground with aero.
Where to from here, as far as obviously you know what the development is coming up? We know 2017 is going to be 570 Spider. I think that got talked about already.
Yeah.
So is the plan to continue making like the LT sort of series cars of a more track, you know, a more aggressive version, or to make more affordable, more attainable cars that the everyman can drive?
But we're in a really fortunate position in that we started with the 12C and we had one car, one product, and it had to suit everybody. We've gradually, bit by bit, expanded our product lineup so that we've now got a nice range of cars, something for everybody at the very top, middle, bottom segment, and we've got a lot of interesting ideas for each of those segments. So every year there'll be a new model at least, and it could be in the bottom, middle or top segment. It could be a road car, could be a track car, could be a bit of both. So it's a nice position to be in, populating that product lineup, and we've got no shortage of ideas. So yeah, watch this space because we've got tons of good ideas for this model lineup, for the Super Series, for the Ultimate Series as well.
The torque fill system that's in the P1, that was next level kind of as far as performance is concerned. Is that something that we're likely to see filter down eventually into lower level cars in the Super Series or Sport Series?
All of those things, powertrain technology, hybrid technology, it's a really live thing at the moment. It's a really fast moving world, and you've got to be careful what you jump onto because a lot of that technology is very fast moving, and you could hang your hat on one and find that it's very, very quickly superseded. So you have to be quite careful with how you or where you focus in terms of powertrain. So again, we led the way in our niche really with the turbocharged engine at all. You know, we were kind of ahead of most of our competitors in introducing turbo engines into this, you know, rear mid-engine sports car niche, and that's proven to be the route that everyone is following. So the next things that we do, we would like to be like that. So we'll see. It works very well in the P1. Hybrid technology available at the time we were developing and building that car was cutting edge, still is, but it won't be forever. So we need to just watch what's coming. That's moving fast.
Is there some technology that you just won't put in the car?
There's a lot of stuff that's on the market. There's a lot of stuff that our competitors use that isn't really right for us. We see the value in doing other things. So we place an enormous amount of value on steering feel. And at the moment, we think the systems that we use, the technology and concepts that we use, give us more of what we're looking for. So we absolutely won't follow a technology just because everyone else is using it. And if other technology improves and gets to a point where we think it's appropriate, then we'll look at it. But everything we do is for a reason. There's only technology in our cars if it's adding something.
Are there things that you've learned along the way from being a company that produced just one production car to now that has a range of them?
We've learned that it was much easier back then. We're working a lot harder these days, and focusing on multi-products, and always got something in the pipeline, short, medium, long term. But we learn as we go along. So every car we've developed has taught us lessons for the next one and the next one. So I can honestly say that every car we produce is better than the one before. They are not all in the same performance league. That we've got different models. So this one is our lower performance level car, but it's still got 570 PS. It's still a rocket ship. Yeah. But in many ways, it's more refined than our P1 was. But that's the journey we're on, and we're getting better at designing cars that can be built better. We're definitely better at building them on the production line. We're definitely better at delivering them to customers. I'm sure we're getting better at looking after customers. We're growing up as a car company, and we're winning a lot on and off track. Actually, our cars win a lot of races around the world in GT racing. Actually, we've won a huge number of races on every continent. Our cars are doing very well in competition in the media against our competitors, and we're winning a lot of sales around the world, and all of our owners are really enjoying our cars. So it's a steadily growing and probably growing faster than anyone could have dreamt at the beginning of the idea of building McLaren, but it's going very well, and this is a massive step for us, and it's going to open up a lot of doors.
Thank you very much for your
Cheers.
time, Chris. Let's look how much room we've got. We can get out really easily as well.
I think this is the convertible.
Intended to be more road focused or not, the McLaren 570S is a serious piece of kit. Fast on road and blistering on track. If you've got a lazy 400 grand lying around, do yourself a favour, go see your local McLaren dealer and put in an order for one of these. And when you get it, call us so we get to drive it again. Seriously, call us.